The question for today. They tell you in the hospital, you need to advocate for yourself. What happens when you try to follow that advice? Stay tuned. I'm going to tell you another story. Most of you know me. You know, I'm not a pushover. Don't take crap from people. Don't like to be bossed around, told what to do. And don't hesitate to speak my mind. Yes. Trait that's gotten me in trouble many, many times. Yesterday I talked about the food. I tried to advocate for myself about my diet. Nobody understood what a carnivore was and what we had to eat and how we avoided sugar and plants. That was so foreign to most of them. They didn't know how to deal with me and treated me like I was some kind of a lunatic. Well, I managed to navigate the food. Managed to get bacon and eggs most days. But that diet was still blamed for every problem I had because you can't tell them anything. They don't want to know. I'm lucky they didn't re-addict me hard to sugar while I was there. But another thing that I found myself finally speaking out about was the situation of the semi-private room and the roommates. Something I touched on yesterday. One morning, they came in about 5 o'clock, woke us all up. They had to take bloods, they had to give meds, they had to take blood pressures, they had to do all that. Couldn't wait until 7 o'clock, but no, had to wake us up at 5. When you woke up my roommate, the one I told you about yesterday, the one with the attentive wife, it's a kind way to put it. His needs were all consuming. He was very sick. He couldn't go to the bathroom by himself. He had catheter issues to deal with. He was in terrible pain. From the time they woke him up, he occupied 100% of the nurses and the attendants' attention for at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half. During that time, I sat over on my side of the room, virtually ignored. If I said to the nurse, "Nurse, I need something," she would say, I'll get to you as soon as I'm done with this patient. And this was becoming a trend, and I was becoming relegated to sitting there quietly while they poured all of their efforts into my roommate. I didn't like this. I was a patient too. Maybe I had to go to the bathroom. I'm sorry. Why was my roommate always first? And I relegated to, "We'll get to you when we have time." On this particular morning, I had to go to the bathroom. My choices were pee in that urinal or get escorted to the bathroom by one of the staff. I couldn't get them to pay attention to me. My roommate had totally occupied the bathroom, and The staff were all over my room, and there was no place in my room that I could even find the privacy to use the urinal without embarrassing myself. So I sat there like a little 3-year-old being told, you can't go to the bathroom until I tell you it's okay. I was furious, to say the least. Finally, they got finished with him, and I got in to use the bathroom. Shortly afterwards, one of the nurse's assistants came in the room. My roommate was already gone. He was headed off towards some kind of therapy, and I finally was in my room alone. And the nurse's assistant walked in. Hi, Mitch, how you doing this morning? Well, I told her in no uncertain terms. And in doing so, I may have gotten a little excited, passionate in my description of what happened that morning and how I felt, relegated to being unimportant in my half of the room to my roommate, whose needs were all encompassing all the time. This wasn't the first day that this happened. It had been building in me. I was fed up, to say the least. Can you imagine? I may have raised my voice a little bit, expressing my unhappiness with the events of the morning as I was telling this nurse the story. Another nurse came running in and accused me of causing a disturbance and of being a danger. And if I didn't stop, she was going to call security on me. Well, you can imagine that made me even more angry because I wasn't dangerous. I was recounting the events of that morning to a nurse who asked me, how you doing? And was intently listening to what I was saying and agreeing with me that that was terrible. I said to the other nurse, why don't you ask this nurse here what I was talking about? Well, nobody really wanted to hear about what was going on. Next thing I know, I'm getting blamed for everything. I'm considered a dangerous man. And I wouldn't hear any part of it. I wouldn't hear any part of it. I try to stick up for myself, but they don't want to hear any of that. I get a visit about an hour later from my caseworker. And she says, what happened? So I told her the story. She said, that's inexcusable. You should not have been treated like this. I'm going to bring the chief nurse, the head guy. He has to hear this. There's no way you should have been treated like this. So the head nurse comes in. Nice guy in his 40s. Kind of looked like me. Bald head, nice beard. My son had come at that time, and he was in the room with me. The head nurse came in. He says, what happened? We told him this story. He was incensed, apologetic. He started admitting that, well, they're having some problems. He's doing, he's kind of new here. He's trying to straighten all these people out to get their attitudes right, get rid of the ones. I said, that's neither here nor there. They're accusing me of being a troublemaker for merely having to go to the bathroom and getting no attention. That's inexcusable in any kind of facility where you have custodial care over somebody else's life. You could tell by my demeanor now that how aggravated I was. He apologized all over the place. He handed me his card. He said, anybody else says anything to you about this, you tell them to see me. I said, okay. But number one, I need my privacy back. I cannot be in somebody else's room with somebody else's wife with no boundaries, with them having to come over to my side of the room every time they need something from the closet. I can't continue like that. I need to get some respect for my autonomy around here. Or get me a different room, or get me a private room. And, well, we can't do that. We don't have to. Okay. Please fix this, or I'm leaving. I cannot finish my therapy here under these conditions. Evidently, they had a talk with the roommate and his wife, who are really nice people and really didn't know what they were doing to me because I was quiet and never said anything. It wasn't until I said something that I got in trouble. And that's the problem and the point I'm trying to make here. They tell you to advocate for yourself, but then hold it against you when you do. It's a no-win situation when you're in one of these kind of places. You got to just behave yourself, get with the program, keep your mouth shut, and suffer through it. Don't want to be labeled a troublemaker. Next day, a nurse comes in, treating me very strangely, very distant. I said, is there something wrong? And she let me know that she knew all about me and how I was a troublemaker and how I was considered dangerous and how if she ever felt in danger from me, she was going to call security on me. I said, what are you talking about? Well, I heard about what happened with you yesterday, she said. I said, no, you didn't. You don't know anything about what happened to me yesterday. She said, well, that's not what I hear. I said, and you don't know what's going on in this hospital. She said, you have no idea. She said, we have patients here that are dangerous. We have nurses here that feel threatened. I said, not for me, you don't. She said, well, I don't know that. I said, well, I'll tell you what. See this card here? This is your boss's card. Why don't you take you and your attitude and go have a long talk with your boss about me first, and then you come back here, and we'll talk about it. So she leaves. She comes back later. Sweetness and light. She says, she doesn't apologize, but she says, why don't we just start all over again? Well, I said, okay, great. Let's just start all over again, you and me. And she was nice to me for the rest of the day. I didn't have any more trouble like that. I got some respect for the last couple of days I was there. I tried to be congenial. I was nice to the roommate, nice to his wife. And we got along fine. I'm glad that I pushed my opinions as hard as I did. Otherwise, something very surprising would not have happened. Got this in the mail yesterday. I won't show you the front, but I'll show you the back, and you can see where the return receipt was, because it was a certified letter. And it was a certified letter from the hospital where I took my therapy, where I was for 18 or 19 days. And I said, what the hell are they sending me a certified letter for? I want to read you this and show you that sometimes it actually does pay to stick to your convictions, not take crap from people. For fear of how they might express their retribution back. This says, thank you for expressing your concerns to one of our case managers regarding your recent stay at so-and-so rehabilitation hospital. As hospital administrator, I take these matters seriously, as our goal is to deliver exceptional care. You expressed concerns about professionalism and respect. You reported that some of our nursing staff lacked professionalism when taking care of you. You had the opportunity to review your concerns with our chief nursing officer. He apologized to you and used this opportunity to remind our entire team about our core principles of comfort, professionalism, and respect during all patient interactions. We appreciate your feedback and will continue to work with our staff to improve our processes. We are sorry for the concerns you reported. Based on our investigation, we consider this matter resolved as of March 25th, 2025. However, if you have any additional questions or concerns, please contact me. Signed, Chief Executive Officer. Okay. What are they worried about? This is obviously was prompted by their lawyers. They obviously figure they need to blow some air up my skirt because I had real, valid concerns about the way they operated, and obviously figured that I was the kind of guy not afraid to bring them up. Well, I'm not going to cause any more trouble for them. I don't sue people. I don't want to. But this letter and their cover your ass attitude just reinforces the fact to me that I was dead right. And had I not brought it up, had I not told them how ridiculous the way they operated was, maybe they might not have learned anything. Whether they're just telling me this to make me feel important, whether they really make any changes, I don't know. And quite frankly, I could care less. I'm not going back there. I pity the poor people that follow me. It's an interesting story. And the moral of this story is, if you feel that these people are hurting you, if you feel that their policies and procedures are damaging you and your health, you have to speak up and make noise. Otherwise, nothing will ever change. And that's the purpose of my channel and a reason I come on here, kind of shedding some daylight on the stuff that all of us just seem to take for granted and put up with. I don't put up with that stuff. You can probably tell I got a little passionate during this. Maybe my speech got a little more slurred because of how passionate I got. I hope you got the message, though. And I hope you found this little story interesting. I was shocked when I got that letter yesterday. Just shocked. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed this little rant of mine today. And until the next time, please take the rest of the day off. And as usual, eat that meat.